Peace. This is Alvarez Media back at y'all for another round. And fight fans, it's official. Canelo Alvarez will be taking on fellow Mexican, keep that in mind, Jaime Mungia on Saturday, May 4th, 2024. So this is quite interesting. You know, it's no surprise, however, because the name Jaime Mungia has been picking up a lot of steam over the past month when Canelo and PBC parted ways, which was a clear indication that Canelo was not going to be taking a David Benavidez fight, a David Morrell fight, nor a Terence Crawford fight, which is, you know, as great as Crawford is, he's over 20 pounds bigger than him. So he would have the advantage in that fight, but it looks like he's not even taking that fight. And the fact that him and Eddie Hearn were picking up talks and it looks like he was going to return to the zone, the two obvious selections there would have been Jaime Mungia and Puerto Rico's own Edgar Berlanga. So of the two, he went for the Mexican young star Jaime Mungia. This is interesting, first of all, because just a year or so ago, when Canelo was asked about the David Benavidez fight, or at that time, the unbeaten Zurdo Ramirez, who is a big, physically imposing guy who is a lefty. He boxes southpaw, which creates problems in and of itself, but his size was a big problem. So his name started to get thrown around a lot before Bivol beat him. And either you were hearing Zurdo or David Benavidez. And that's when Canelo came out and said, I represent Mexico, and I'm not going to fight another Mexican. So now, interestingly enough, fast forward a couple years later, now he's taking on a full-blooded, born in Mexico Mexican in Jaime Mungia. So Mungia, at least he looked good his last fight. He looked a lot better under the tutelage and training of Freddie Roach. He was able to knock out the same John Ryder that went the distance with Canelo Alvarez. So Canelo said, you know what, let me capitalize on that. The fact that he had a pretty good outing. He knocked out the guy that went the distance with me. So this should kind of help sell the fight, on top of the fact that it's Mexico versus Mexico, which is always a big thing. And yeah, he skipped over Benavidez once again. And Benavidez has some very interesting words recently. Like, Benavidez let the cat out the bag. Now that it's official, in an interview, Benavidez said, man, he just doesn't want to fight me. That's it. He's scared. He doesn't want to fight me. I was willing to take 10%. Benavidez explained everything I said in my video last week about how Canelo was going to make $55 million off the bat with no pay-per-view buys involved. He was going to make $55 million. And that's before pay-per-views. Now, when you add the pay-per-view revenue to that, he was going to gross over $100 million. And David Benavidez, out of his own mouth, recently said, this guy, he doesn't want to fight me. It's clear. He said, you guys, talking about old media, you guys, y'all like to make whatever excuses or say whatever for him. But the truth is, he doesn't want to fight me. He was going to make over $100 million. And I, being David Benavidez, said I was only going to come off with about $5 million from that fight. After dividing that with my camp, I would have been left with like 3.5, and that's before taxes. So this dude was willing to take, David Benavidez was willing to take just $1 million to Canelo's $100 million. And Canelo still said no. Why? Because he is scared. He's scared of David Benavidez, the man that Mike Tyson has dubbed the Mexican monster. He is scared of him. And, you know, the proof is in the pudding, man. He said he wouldn't fight Mexican fighters when David Benavidez was the WBC, and still is to this day, the WBC #1 contender. He was the mandatory for Canelo's WBC belt, and that's when he hit us with the famous press conference, "I don't fight Mexican fighters." And here you are with the opportunity to fight a lesser skilled Mexican fighter in Jaime Mungia. Now all of a sudden, you forgot, convenient amnesia, you forgot that you said you don't fight Mexican fighters because you represent Mexico. So I guess he don't represent Mexico no more, right? According to his logic. But yeah, it's official. We're going to get now Canelo Mungia, May 4th, 2024, live from Vegas. I think the fight's going to be okay, you know. Mungia is the type that will not be on his back foot as much as some other fighters that, excuse me, he won't be on his back foot as much. You know, guys like Mungia like to press the action. They like to come forward. So, you know, this would have been a pretty good, this is going to be a pretty good fight. It's going to be pretty interesting style, clash of styles, you know, Mexican style, two people toe-to-toe. But this ain't the fight that everybody wanted. And Canelo continues to avoid the fights that everybody wants. This is why he is not nowhere near the king of boxing, and he's not even in the top 5 of Mexican boxers of all time. He's just not. You know, there's no way we could give him that privilege and give him that credit of being known as one of the 5 greatest Mexican boxers of all time, when the prior Mexicans before him, they never ducked people. They didn't duck and dodge and run. They fought, man. They fought whoever was in front of them, whoever they had to fight in order to establish their greatness. That's what they fought. But clearly, Canelo Alvarez is not doing that. And that's why we can't even put him in the pantheon of great Mexican fighters. He's just a good boxer. And like I said last week, there's levels. You know, outside of like the B and C class fighters, when you know, the A class fighters, you can either be good, very good, great, legend, and GOAT, greatest of all time. And Canelo is hovering in that good, maybe very good, but he's not even nowhere near great. He's not even there. I'm Waz for Waz Words Media. Peace.